All right, Emily. I know things are generally terrifying,
Hmm.
but now we have a tangible sense of accomplishment and purpose. You,
Thank God.
you
Yeah.
are a filmmaker, and I am the host to Play It Forward.
Lovely. Lovely to meet you.
So that is obviously a line out of your film,
Hmm.
Hobbies. We're gonna be talking about that today.
Hmm.
Loved it. Really funny stuff, well produced, great acting.
Yeah.
Certainly very topical. Um, Thanks for being on the show. Would you like to introduce yourself prior to start?
Yeah, I'm Emily. I'm the director of Hobbies. I'm primarily a film director, or sorry, a theater director, which I'm sure we'll talk a lot about. And Hobbies is my first step into the world of film directing.
I remember this. Yes.
And I just really caught the bug, and so I'm super excited to
Right. This is your
more.
breakout film debut.
Exactly. Exactly.
Awesome breakout. So,
Yeah.
you directed it. Grace McLeod wrote it, and
Yeah.
it's very witty and well shot by Xander Herman and really
Yeah.
well acted by the poet Emma
Hmm.
Maltby
Maltby, yeah.
and Cody Sloan, the knitter. I
Hmm.
mean, that little, monologue that he delivered um, is
Incredible.
pretty funny with the knit hat. So diving in, I
Hmm.
know, you directed this, but
Hmm.
when the writer Grace came to you with this, what was the emotional inspiration that had that you're like, yeah, I want to do this?
Yeah, so Grace is a brilliant writer for film, TV, but actually Grace and I met in the context of workshopping a new play together. And we were workshopping her play, and actually Emma was in the workshop of that play, and Emma's a collaborator of mine from we were apprentices together at the Actors Theater of Louisville. And the three of us got together when I moved to LA briefly after, right after I left my graduate directing program at UCSD, and said, the three of us have always wanted to make something together. It's one thing to say that you're going to make something, and it's another thing to actually do it.
Right.
And
It's
so
great to want
actually,
to do it.
yeah, yeah. And so that's actually the spirit of the project and of the film is, what does it mean to actually make yourself create? And so we're
Okay.
talking about that theme and talking about isolation during the pandemic and just how frustrating the creative process can be. And also, quite frankly, my anxiety about making a film for the first time. Um,
Well, I get like the I get kind of the dynamics of what's going on, like
yeah,
the COVID and artists
yeah,
making art and
yeah.
being successful and trying to want to define yourself in some way of like I'm a knitter and
Mhm.
that's there. But what like turns you on or what turned you on about the idea? The idea that you're exploring about this like identity and self-gratification and approbation through identity with
Yeah,
something
absolutely.
as a stepping stone.
Yeah, I mean, I'm somebody who really, I'm sure a lot of, in a similar way to a lot of artists, really struggle with perfectionism and really stop myself from starting projects before I can, if I know that they're not going to be perfect, right? And so it's like the theme of this project, this like existential panic about not being immediately perfect at something, was both the core idea to me and also the practice for me in the creation of it as well. So it was the proof was in the pudding for that.
Yeah, so it's like overcoming your fear
Yeah.
and just stepping out there and doing it and writing about um the scary part of overcoming your fears and what the conclusion is, in the end of the film. Can I mention it? Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's they're jumping up and down and throwing kind of caution to the wind.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
just I think what it comes to thematically is a point of process over product in
Yeah,
terms of,
absolutely.
yeah, so the process is kind of the experiential thing in the moment of what we're doing and how we're living our lives
Yeah.
versus the identification with a product being like, hey, this is going to make me lovable.
Yeah. And ultimately not taking ourselves and our work so seriously.
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
So when you watch it, because we've talked a lot about the
Mhm.
meaning just there, but when you watch it now, having some hindsight with it,
Mhm.
what are some of your key takeaways?
Yeah, watching it. What are some of my key takeaways? I actually think about the story of hobbies a lot. I'm currently in a process directing a play. And um, when I think about why we all come to this art form, why we all start either in theater or film or, because we all have the urge to create and the urge to tell a story. And that's true of people at every level of this career. But ultimately, we are playing pretend professionally and trying to get back to that feeling of when we like first caught that bug. And for me, thinking about the piece and in my own directing career, I often catch myself um taking myself and my work way too seriously. And when I take a breath and step back and really allow myself to like look at it from without, being in the scribbly, nitty, close up details of my work, when I'm able to step back and take a breath is actually when I'm a much better creator. Um, yeah, yeah, that's sort of
Yeah.
sticks with me.
Yeah, that's great, and it's a really fine line to walk as an artist or as a
Mhm,
craftsperson,
mhm.
however, you think of yourself. There's that uh desire to, or not really a desire, but there's the sort of importance of having fun with
Yeah,
the work and the people,
absolutely.
which lends itself to the outcome.
Yeah,
It's visible in the outcome. It makes for a better thing, whatever you're doing, a better story.
yeah.
We all like to see people, great actors.
Mhm,
And I mention them because, they're so visible. We can't see the directors and editors
mhm,
and
mhm.
behind, but we see them, and when we can see they're having a good time
Yeah,
with what they're doing,
mhm,
there's something that turns us on as spectators to that.
yeah,
And then there's the craft, which does demand such a level of attention to
yeah,
detail.
mhm,
And I think what often happens is, when we are early in our careers,
mhm,
our insecurities will, or because of those insecurities, we tend to focus on the details as a way to get it right and
mhm.
be like good at what we do because everybody's going to see it. They're going to talk about us when we're not here, and what are they going to say?
Yeah,
So, um, and yet, it's so important to overcome that and allow yourself to flow freely, really, which is what having fun's all about.
right, and you're just never going to finish a project if you stay stuck in the
Yeah.
details of it all.
Yeah.
Mm,
That's great. Yeah. I'm
yeah.
still editing stuff from like
Yeah, totally,
10 years
totally.
ago.
Mhm,
So, that said, we're, around the bend here to the last question to play it forward. And I hate to let you go, Emily, but
mm,
let's because we may get into, some more meat of this question. But
mhm.
since you made hobbies, how long has it been?
We shot Hobbies in the winter of 2022. Yeah.
Okay. So
Mhm,
we're coming out in 2 years here.
mhm.
Um, how have you been personally changed?
I mean, like I said, I just absolutely caught the bug. This was my first not only was this my first time directing a film, this was my first time ever on a film set. And there were moments when we were shooting this that my DP, lovely Xander, would lean over to me and be like, you should watch the monitor, not them, because I'm so used to watching the actors. Or a couple times, leaning over and being like, "Oh, you have to say action," that sort of thing. That because I was just so I just come from a completely different background. I was so new to being on a film set. And I was so pleasantly surprised to realize how many transferable skills there were between my theater directing world and my film abilities. And since then I've learned a lot more. Um, I've learned a lot more of the sort of technical skills needed. And uh I've last summer, actually with Cody Sloan, who's stars in Hobbies. Cody wrote a short that we filmed last summer that we're in the process of finishing up right now.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, so I'm really excited about these wonderful friends I have in my life, these wonderful writers who have stories to tell that like now I have the skills to help them tell it. It's really the gift that Hobbies gave me. And again, like I said, like jumping in before you're ready, jumping in before you feel like you're an expert and forcing yourself to move through the discomfort of not being immediately perfect at something.
Well, on a technical level, it sounds like the size
Yeah.
of the view box, right?
Hmm.
The view box is changing
Yeah.
from a audience sitting in a theater and
Right.
looking at it from their
Yeah.
lens, right? And then
Totally.
the view box
Mhm,
diminishes to a screen,
mhm.
and then what's it like, to tailor to both of those experiences. But personally, it sounds like you have gained more courage in the work that you're doing and in
Absolutely, yeah.
future film directing, and
Mhm.
being more confident in that process and knowing, hey, I like it.
Yeah, right, and I've done it. I've ripped the Band-Aid off,
There you
and
go.
it's such an amazing team on such a beautiful project.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Emily Moeller, filmmaker. Thank you for being on Play It Forward. Until next time, see you later.
Thank you,
You're
bye.
welcome. Bye. Lovely wave.